today on Divorce Court.
Brittany cheated on me with a creepy guy that she met online.
I cheated on Justin because he wasn't paying attention to me and I deserved better.
After I found out that she cheated on me, I reacted really badly and it just hurt and I didn't know what to do.
I would only see Justin 30 minutes a day. I had no one. I was all alone.
I had to make the decision of being able to provide for my family or spend time with them.
He needs to get his priorities straight and put the family first before work and farming.
I'm hoping the judge will give us advice to help make this work.
If Justin doesn't change and he doesn't get his anger under control, I'm going to have to leave and I'm going to have to end the marriage completely, finally.
Divorce Court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Justin Marsh and Brittany Marsh. The two of you have been together for 3 years, married for 2.5 years. You have one child together, and you had a child previously, and you adopted that child. They don't want a divorce. They're on the edge of a divorce, but they want to hear what I have to say in order to help them save their marriage. So I'm speaking to that today. I'm going to speak to the Marshes, who are 23 and 20, because they want help and my advice how to get it together and get to the next stage. So, Mr. Marsh, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you tell me what's so wrong with this marriage so soon?
A lot of things, Your Honor. I had to choose work over spending time with my family. And
What do you do for a living?
Right now I work in a sheet metal fabrication, making air duct.
But you were a farmer, though, right?
That's right.
And you loved that.
Yes, I did.
Why did you switch jobs?
To make more money and a lot more free time at home to spend with my family.
Was that a move that you wanted to make, or was that a move that was compelled by the wife? I see the wife is grinning already, so I think I know the answer. Is it something you wanted to do, or did you do it for the sake of the marriage?
I did it for the sake of the marriage.
Ms. Marsh, were you unhappy about the amount of time you were spending away from home?
I was very unhappy, yes.
How long of a day would he put in?
He'd be gone all day, 12, sometimes even 14 hours he would be gone. He'd come home 30 minutes to eat supper and he'd leave or he'd sleep and I would never get to see him.
You understood he loved what he was doing, though, didn't you?
Well, right, but there comes a time that you need to put your family before what you love.
You changed your job, Mr. Marsh. Now what's the problem? You've given her that. What's the problem now?
The lack of trust between both of us, Your Honor.
The lack of trust. You just didn't like it on the farm. You were on the farm, right?
Yes.
Well, no, he wasn't making enough money either, and that's what I was going to say also. Not only was he doing something maybe he liked, but he was doing it while not supporting us either.
Did you talk to him about his job and how much money he had and how economically you guys were going to survive before you got married?
No, not really.
Yeah, I recommend that kind of thing. That's one of those questions. How much you got, how much I got, how we're going to make this work? That's a good question to ask.
You are correct, yes.
That's a very good question to ask. You say there are fidelity issues, and Ms. Marsh is all on your side with that one. Tell me what transpired.
Your Honor, ever since we got married, she was messaging her ex all the time, and I even got a Facebook message from him while I was at work one time saying that she cheated on me with him. And I kept on asking her, and she kept on denying, and then eventually she did admit to it.
Ms. Marsh, did you cheat on your husband with an ex within 2 years, within the first year of marriage?
Yes.
Did you do that?
The ex that he is referring to, that one I actually don't recall.
Well, did you cheat on him with anybody?
I did cheat on him, yes. And I do say that I did cheat on him, yes.
How often did you cheat on him?
I stepped down on him once with one man.
One time, one guy.
And then when we separated, I stepped out on him again with another. But we were separated the second time that I...
So you were on a break.
Right. We separated. And I stepped out.
Was the other guy an ex as well?
He was not an ex, no.
This was a new guy.
Yes, it was.
Tell me about the sandbox, because that story outraged me.
We were building a sandbox in our backyard for our 2 kids. We have 2 boys. And this guy that she had said that she knew from her cousin, a friend of her cousin, was able to help us out, and he didn't ask for money or anything. And he helped us build the sandbox, and well, later on I found out that that was a lie and that she had actually met him online because he was buying clothes from her that didn't fit our kids anymore, and that she was cheating on me with him.
Did you bring home a guy that you were cheating with to help put up a sandbox?
Well, not exactly the way he stated it.
Okay, you tell me how it happened.
He misstated that completely. Well, first off, I want to say that Justin was desperate. He was looking for anyone to help him, and he had tried everyone that he knew, and he was getting really frustrated and upset about it. And I didn't really know what to do, and I was kind of out of options, and Justin had said, well, you know, do you know someone? You need to find someone. You need to help me. Well, I was freaking out, and he was freaking out, so...
So you came up with the guy you were sleeping with?
At the time, Your Honor, we were not sleeping together. At the time, we had not slept together.
But you guys were doing the flirt thing.
We were talking as friends at that time. I did not go into the thing with the guy to cheat, nor was I looking for a guy to cheat with, Your Honor. We were just friends, point blank, from the beginning. I was all alone, Your Honor. Justin was gone. He was never home. He was never there. I was completely by myself with a child, and I was pregnant. I was completely alone.
When you say completely alone, he did come home at night.
He came home to sleep. Sleeping. I didn't get to talk to him. He was gone. He was gone or he was sleeping. Like, I didn't get to talk to him. Like, you sit on the couch and you watch a family movie and you talk to each other. And how was your day? How was work? I didn't get that.
Okay. Now I'm gonna leave you alone for a hot second. But just a hot second. Do you understand what she's saying? I understand what she's saying. She's wrong, but I understand what she's saying. Were you less than available as a husband?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. And how many hours a day would you spend at home?
Maybe 8 if lucky, and most of that was just eating and sleeping.
And sleeping. 8, okay. I'm gonna explain to you why that isn't alone.
He left to run home to get his phone to call the police. I realized that I have another child upstairs with a madman in the house doing God knows what to the house or my child. I was terrified.
I just want to say this, Ms. Marsh, about being alone. That isn't being alone. There are certain sacrifices one has to make when one is trying to raise and support a family. He's working hard. At least you could be cool about staying home and dealing with the kids. As he's making that sacrifice, you make that sacrifice. He has no obligation to entertain you. And I think that you have to have a depth and breadth of life on your own, that if this man has to work a long time, you can stay at home without philandering with the sandbox man. That said, I understand that there was an incident that Mr. Marsh engaged in that was ended in police involvement. I want you to tell me about that.
Well, Mr. Marsh had been badgering me about whether or not I was cheating because he figured I was cheating, and I had not yet come clean completely and said that I had had an affair on him. Well, I decided to tell him and come clean about it. We were both sitting on our couch in the living room, and I told him, and I obviously expected him to be upset. Well, at first he didn't say anything. He kind of just sat there blankly staring at me. So I was like, okay. I wasn't sure like if he didn't hear me properly or what was going on. And then all of a sudden he stood up and just went completely berserk. He grabbed the TV and ripped it off the wall and threw it on the ground like 2 feet from my then like 12-month-old child that was sitting on the couch. And he then ran straight through the door that was like right next to us on the couch that leaded to the porch and completely busted the door. And right after that happened, my dad ran in the house because we live right next door to my parents in a duplex. And my dad ran in the house because he heard all the commotion and saw what was happening. And Justin had yelled for my dad to get out, and my dad had said, no, you need to leave. And Justin had said, no, your daughter needs to leave. And my dad said, I'm calling the police. Well, he left to run home to get his phone to call the police. I grabbed the child that was on the couch and ran next door with my child and realized that I have another child upstairs with a madman in the house doing God knows what to the house or my child. I was terrified. I had to run home. I had to grab my child from upstairs. And by that point, Justin was in the bathroom. And once I got the child out of the house, the police had shown up and went over there to talk to Justin, and he was gone.
You can't understand him being a little honked off about finding out that you had an affair.
I agree, but there's a difference, a fine line between the two.
Mr. Marsh, do you feel like you endangered your children at all?
I personally don't think I did, because I would never touch my kids or Brittany. But I also agree that the manner of which I acted was definitely not right either.
Okay. Now, you coming in here like Clark Kent, very cool, no excitement, all that kind of stuff. Is this your normal demeanor, or is rage, do you have an anger issue, or was it peculiar to this particular event?
I do have an anger issue, Your Honor, and I am also seeking help from anger management counseling for it, too.
Does he have a bit of a temper?
He has a big temper, and he's been in anger management, and he still has that temper. After going to anger management, we had an anger issue that occurred, and I wasn't even doing anything when it occurred.
You weren't even having an affair or nothing. I got it.
He also lied about doing drugs and decided not to get a job over drugs. So he chose drugs over his family and getting a job. I didn't want him doing drugs. I didn't want any part of drugs.
Were you doing drugs when you had kids?
Do you believe Brittany's cheating caused Justin's anger management problem? Tell us what you think at facebook.com/divorce court. Divorce Court will be right back. If you would like your case to be heard on Divorce Court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Divorce Court.
Is that the end of the affairs, or was there another infidelity involved? Or is that it? It was over at that point in time?
At that point in time, it was over.
It was over.
Yep.
So, but you didn't have another one later?
I did have another one later when we were separated.
Okay, so this was the break boyfriend?
No, not quite.
Okay.
It was an emotional affair.
Emotional affair.
Yes.
Mr. Marsh, you really love Mrs. Marsh. You really want to stay together.
Yes, I do.
You're the one who asked me, what do I do? How do I fix this? Aren't you concerned that if someone really loved you, she wouldn't continue to have affairs with other men? I'm just saying.
I believe that she can change, and I really hope so, Your Honor.
Do you love Mr. Marsh?
I do.
That was low and slow. It really was low and slow. What? You guys really want me to help you, or are you done? Because you seem not terribly interested in maintaining this relationship. Maybe I'm reading you wrong. Am I reading you wrong?
Well, I think that I'm getting blamed for the entire relationship. It takes two people to make a relationship or break up a relationship, not just one. Not everything that happened in the relationship was my fault.
I talked to him about his anger, and that's your biggest concern, correct?
He also lied about doing drugs and decided not to get a job over drugs. So he chose drugs over his family and getting a job.
Tell me about that. What was he doing?
When we first got together, I knew that he had done drugs in the past, but he had just gotten out of the Army. So I figured he was going to be clean and sober for the rest of his life. And I told him that if we were going to be in a relationship, I didn't want him doing drugs. I didn't want any part of drugs.
Were you doing drugs when you had kids?
Not when I had the kids, no, Your Honor. It was before, when we were first starting going out, before I even proposed to her. I had fallen back in with the bad crowd, and I do admit that I was doing drugs.
He lied, though, about doing them. He told me
that he was clean,
yes.
and he wasn't. Did he stop after
Exactly.
you got married, though, and you had kids?
He stopped after I caught him.
Was that before or after you got married?
That was before we got married.
So the drug thing was no longer an issue once you were married?
No, it was not.
Okay, got it. What do you think is the major problem in the Marsh's marriage? We want to hear from you. Share your opinion on Twitter and Instagram at Divorce Court. Divorce Court will be right back. My understanding is that both of you are very religious people, or at least you were raised in a very religious background, and the two of you don't believe in divorce, correct?
Yes.
And you want to see if this marriage can be saved by sending it in another direction. Did I get that right as well?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm all for saving marriages. I really am. I think people can try. I think people should can come back after infidelities. My concern in this regard is this. I think that Ms. Marsh is so young and so immature that any failure on your part could lead her to cheat again. I'm not comforted in the fact that she says she wants to save that if she has the emotional wherewithal not to do the easiest thing to feel better, which is to get another man to make her feel better. And Ms. Marsh, and I'm not mad at you, because I'm not married to you. You're not doing anything to me. But what I'm trying to tell you is you need to up your maturity. Don't keep thinking about what you need and what you want. You've got 2 children to care for. And if you're not getting enough attention from him or something like that, the fastest way to feeling better is rarely the way to go. You end up at the place with the most persistent problems. And if you got a guy with an anger management issue, sleeping around don't help. And I want you to have a more mature mindset about what marriage is. Marriage is love, but it's not always joyful and fun. Sometimes it's a lot of work with the children and all of that. And I think that immediate satisfaction thing you need, you have to work on, and that's something that lies within you and has nothing to do with him. Having said that, Mr. Marsh, I'll say this. I was raised in a household that rocked and rolled on the rhythm of anger. And let me tell you what you're doing to your kids. You're putting cracks in the foundation of who they are. When they believe that anything can go wrong and the house will explode, everything that ever happens to them will appear as impending doom. And you don't have the right to do that to your children. It's not fair, it's not right, it's not good. If you can't live with her and maintain your temper, then you need to go elsewhere. If your temper is a problem, you need to remain not only in anger management, but also get some personal counseling as well. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Are you satisfied with the money he's making or the progress he's making on a professional level?
To an extent. He gets the bills paid.
I wish the best for both of you. I really, really do. I really, really do. If you were my son, I would tell you to roll. That's what I would do. Prove me wrong. Prove to me that you're a better person than you appeared here today. Prove to me that you're more of an adult than you've demonstrated so far. Prove me wrong. Don't rely on what other people are doing to you as explanations for what you do. How you respond to whatever happens to you is on you, by you, for you, and you own it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You own it. I'm going to send you to somebody who's going to help you find some relationship assistance. Prove me wrong. That's all I'm going to say. This matter is adjourned.
I feel the judge's judgment of me was based on a few mistakes that I've made in life and not my entire life.
I'm hopeful that I can save my marriage and that me and Brittany can hopefully agree to be able to prove the judge wrong. Because I really want this to work. She's loved my life.
I feel that my marriage has a chance to be saved, but time will tell.